Uh-oh. News.
I hope you understand what I'm saying. I ain't gonna fuck you up here. Get the shot. Go ahead, guys. Get the shot, guys. All right, we're done.
Chaos has ensued at the press conference ahead of this weekend's WBO lightweight title fight. Keyshawn Davis says, Dennis Berenchik and his team sent this to my room. I never thought bro was a racist, but this fight just got a little more personal.
Uh-oh.
Cased in the box is a thing of bananas and a watermelon with a note. The note reads, here's a snack for all of those high jumps. Stay energized. Business, Wham. And this box would have been presumably sent by Dennis Berenchik to Keyshawn Davis's hotel room. Keyshawn did not hesitate to respond.
I want to address the fact that this guy came to America to give me bananas and watermelon with a note on it. It's unprofessional, and I feel like it's racist, and you just made this fight a little more personal.
Take it a step further, Keyshawn, just so...
y'all heard what I said. This man brought a box of bananas and a watermelon. He brought a box of bananas and a watermelon to America to give to my room, to bring to my room. And I took it as racist.
First thing I want to say that I don't speak English and I don't write English, but I saw his message on the media. It's weird. Just even to mention this, some people with bad intentions looking for some hype made this now it's.
He ain't say all that.
Yeah, Dennis didn't say much.
A stout observation from Keyshawn Davis. Dennis Berenchik didn't say much, where Alex Krasiyuk is acting as the translator.
It would seem that he was adding a lot to the would-be translation.
More than Dennis Berenchik actually said. But are we to believe that a foreigner in a foreign land who's here on business would have taken the time out to do this?
Gets off the plane, arrives in his hotel room. Before he does, purchases bananas and a watermelon to send to Keyshawn.
Some are not convinced that these are the actions of Dennis Berenchik himself. Thunderdome Boxing, veteran content creator,
He's not buying it.
he likens the situation to the false flag that actor Jussie Smollett flew a few years ago.
What did he do?
Actor Jussie Smollett was found guilty in 2021 of faking a racist and homophobic attack and lying to the police. This is who Thunderdome Boxing is likening this attack to.
So he thinks it's fake.
That's what he thinks. What I think is, it is a little hard to believe that this guy, this foreigner, gets off a plane and takes the time to do this with no regard for what the repercussions could be, because you're an outsider.
You're gonna go to the store, you're gonna buy this stuff, you're gonna send it to Keyshawn.
For those not familiar with Dennis Berenchik, this is a pretty off-the-wall guy. He's had some off-the-wall ring walks, but this is a little more than being off the wall.
I would say so.
You've
Yo,
been
Key.
talking about first round a lot.
Yo, Key, what's up, brother? First of all, just let me know, man. Everyone's been talking about the bananas and the watermelon. How did that get delivered to you? Was it somebody just knocked on your door and it was there? Like, tell me, how did that happen?
Yeah, it was housekeeping, or it was like somebody from the lobby or something like that. He just kept insisting, like, "Yo, can I bring it in? Can I bring it in?" My friend was just like, "Man, F it, just go ahead, bring it in, bro. Like, as long as there ain't no bomb or nothing like that, like,
Yeah.
we good, you know what I'm saying?"
Now, listen. Wait, because it's Black History Month and he's throwing it out. Do you feel the pressure now? Like you gotta knock him out
I'm definitely doing it for the coach. I'm glad you said that.
Yeah.
I'm doing it for the coach.
Because we need that now.
Man, he done gave us.
Yeah.
bananas and watermelon. He
Facts.
gave us that. I'm doing it for the culture.
Yeah.
I'm doing it for the culture.
All right.
Yeah.
I believe it's for this reason Thunderdome Boxing is not convinced that this is a genuine attack, presumably orchestrated by Dennis Berenchik, who doesn't seem to speak a lick of English, but there was a note written in English in the box.
Somebody wrote it.
Alexander Krasiuk's English is pretty good, but are we then to believe that he's the one that wrote it? Alex Krasiuk is a consummate professional.
Doesn't mean he can't be a bigot.
Doesn't mean he can. We don't actually know what's going on here. I guess the real question is, do you think Dennis did this? And if you don't, who did?
Thunderdome thinks Keyshawn faked the whole thing.
That's why he's likening this to the Jussie Smollett situation of 2021. A false flag that Keyshawn would be presumably flying in order to galvanize the boxing community at large to rally behind him as being the victim of an attack.
To market himself and market his fight, being a champion of sorts here during Black History Month.
Championing a cause, in a manner of speaking, but that's just what Thunderdome thinks.
What do you think?
I think Teofimo Lopez did it.
What?
I think Teofimo Lopez did it. Like I said, it's a little hard for me to believe that a foreigner in a foreign country, here on business, en route to the hotel, would take the time out to go to the store, purchase the items, then send them to his opponent without fear of reprisal, without fear of the consequences. This is not like Hulk Hogan using racial slurs behind closed doors and getting recorded, or like Mel Gibson making anti-Semitic comments behind closed doors. You do this, the other guy's gonna know.
People are gonna know.
That's a little bit ballsy from a foreigner in a foreign country here on business. No, I feel like Teofimo did this.
What the hell does Teofimo Lopez have to do with Keyshawn Davis's fight with Dennis?
That story about what happened in sparring some time ago, that Teofimo and Keyshawn was sparring. Keyshawn hit him after the bell. His dad used the racial slur. Then they beat up his dad.
Not but a few days ago, Richardson Hitchens brought up that story in his video address to Teofimo.
And your dad in the background talking shit. I thought that old nigga before. I thought that old when they beat him up in the gym and your pussy ass Teofimo ain't do shit, nigga. You stood right there. How you a whole professional boxer and you letting your dad get stomped on by like 9 other professional boxers? Like,
that upload was from just a few days ago, and that would have jogged Teofimo's memory as to what happened in sparring, however long ago that was, ahead of this weekend's fight, which may have left him so inclined to get some payback.
Would have stuck up his crawl.
So many guys pummeling his father. He couldn't do anything that day, but he decided to do something much later when Keyshawn would least expect it, and when he has a fall guy in place, as most people are gonna look at Dennis.
But Dennis ain't the one who's been talking about monkeys and bananas the last few months, right?
Right. That was Teofimo. Now listen, it's not outside the realm of possibility that Dennis is a moron, and he did this himself, but implicating himself ahead of his own fight where he might have to rely on the judges to decide who wins?
As the away fighter.
I find it hard to believe that somebody on his team wouldn't have advised against this ahead of his own fight, and I know that this might harken back to the Sergey Kovalev Adonis Stevenson situation, that t-shirt that Sergey was wearing, but Sergey wasn't actually doing any of that ahead of a fight with Adonis.
They never fought.
This seems a bit brazen to me, ahead of a fight that's just a few days away. But still, it's not outside the realm of possibility that Dennis would have done this because he's a moron, just like it's not outside the realm of possibility that Keyshawn faked the whole thing.
Jussie Smollett did.
All I know is when I read the story, the first name that came to mind wasn't Dennis, wasn't Keyshawn, it was Teofimo. That's who I thought of. That's who I think is behind the whole thing, because he's got an axe to grind.
He wants payback.
Perhaps not in the ring, but in a manner of speaking.
I think he did it. Update.
I'm going to address the fact that this guy came to America to give me bananas and watermelon with a note on it. It's unprofessional, and I feel like it's racist, and you just made this fight a little more personal. Take it a step further, Keyshawn.
Must be losing a bit of speed in my old age. Lost a step that I didn't upload that last segment soon enough, not before Teofimo So many words confess to being the one to have sent Keyshawn Davis that package. That's what I figured.
As I was putting the finishing touches on that last segment, Teofimo Lopez uploaded that video.
Confirming what I already thought. It wasn't Dennis that sent the box, it was him.
Wasted 8 minutes of my time.
And yours, but don't feel too bad. If nothing else, you can reverse engineer the segment to see how it was I arrived at that conclusion, just not soon enough for Teofimo to confess to it. Why does he keep doing this? You're not gonna fight Keyshawn Davis.
You got all this stuff to say about Keyshawn and all this stuff to say about Shakur, but you're not gonna fight any of these guys, so then what's the point?
Taking shots at guys you're not gonna swap punches with. If you really wanted payback for your father, because they beat him up, then you'd be trying to fight Keyshawn, not playing childish games.
The backstory's already there. You can sell that. I mean, if you tried to sell people a Steve Claggett fight or a Sandor Martin fight, then surely you can sell him a Keyshawn Davis fight with that as the backstory.
Why doesn't he do it? Because he's afraid he'll lose. That's the short answer. If it's really about reprisal and revenge, you exact vengeance upon him under the hot lights where you can make some money from it. It seems like common sense unless you figure you don't know you can beat this guy. What if he beats you? Then you come out looking like a moron.
And a bigot.
She is. I've long maintained that Top Rank might have told the world that Teofimo's from Brooklyn, but he's more of a Floridian than a Brooklynite.
I don't know, maybe he was born in Brooklyn or he spent some time there briefly when he was a kid, but he's more of a Floridian than a Brooklynite. What he reminds me of.
Well, he's not Cuban himself, but what he reminds me of is those Hasidity, highfalutin Cubans you find in Florida.
Not the David Morrell or Yordenis Ugas Cubans.
Not the Luis Ortiz Cubans, the Judge Million Cubans, the first-generation Americans.
The bigoted ones.
Teofimo is a bigot. I say it all the time. This is not about selling a fight because he's not about to fight Keyshawn Davis. So when you do this, it's not for the purposes of marketing or generating a buzz.
A buzz for what?
All manner of shenanigans within the sport of boxing are often explained away behind trying to sell a fight. But he's not trying to sell a fight because he's not fighting Keyshawn.
He's just being what he is, a bigot.
So if when he participates in that Ring magazine card or any of those Riyadh season shows, should he falter, there are a lot of people that ain't gonna have no sympathy for him because he's further alienating himself from an entire section of the boxing community by being a bigot.
Don't look for sympathy.
In the sport of boxing, you're always one fight away from your best performance or your worst.
And with a guy as inconsistent as Teofimo Lopez, who blows hot and cold depending on who's opposite the ring.
This is not a guy playing the heel to sell a fight. This is not a guy pretending to be a bad guy. This is just a bigot letting it all hang out.
He saw Ryan go on that racist tirade and he got comfortable with the idea that he can do that too. That's what he's doing.
He's angry they beat up his dad. He couldn't do nothing about it. And he doesn't really want to do nothing about it now, except play childish games.
Because that's what it is.
If you really wanted revenge on Keyshawn, you could have got it.
You could have fought him.
You clearly don't want to. Elsewhere in the world of boxing, Rick Glacier reacted to yesterday's bombshell news that ESPN would be leaving the sport of boxing, potentially leaving. He said, "Why are so many acting shocked by today's big boxing story of ESPN not renewing with Top Rank? I told everyone that ESPN and Top Rank were done back on December 4th, and even gave the date for the last show, but I'm constantly doubted, and he's right."
I see some individuals out there that are skeptical of Rick Glacier's forecasts whenever they first come out.
Not to say that whatever Rick Glacier says is the gospel or that he's always right. Nobody's always right, but he's right often enough that if he says something, you should pay attention.
People are just mad he's got a lot of negative things to say about the PBC. That's why they really don't like him.
That's why a guy who goes by the name The Opinion doesn't like him, saying that's why ESPN is ending its partnership with Top Rank. They know Top Rank is trash.
What's that all about?
Remember in my previous video when I talked about how some people give Turkey LL Sheik a hard time as retaliation? Retaliation for the hard time they feel Al Heyman was given.
Right?
That's what this guy's doing at Top Rank. What he's doing is taking things he sees people say about the PBC and saying them about Top Rank, even though it's ridiculous.
It's retaliation.
He says, ESPN has several shows on daily, and I can't remember a time time Top Rank had any of their fighters on as a guest on those shows to promote their upcoming fights. Also, they put out trash cards. Nobody wants to watch that.
Somebody ought to tell this bozo that making guest spots on podcasts and appearances on other shows boils down to a fighter's manager.
It's the management that's in charge of that, not the promoter. If you want to make an appearance on a radio station or a podcast, a television show, your manager does that, you idiot.
Top Rank cards are trash?
Compare this weekend's Keyshawn Davis versus Dennis Berenchik main event to the PBC's upcoming Sebastian Fundora versus Cordale Booker fight. Which fight seems better to you?
Which card?
Approximately a year out from his big win over Tim Tszyu, the best the PBC could do for him is conjure up Cordale Booker.
So you can pretend to be excited about it.
But don't speak too soon. Don't speak ill of Top Rank just yet. There have been talks between Top Rank, DAZN, and HBO MAX. Yes, Top Rank has reportedly had discussions with representatives from MAX and DAZN to broadcast their shows moving forward. Top Rank's ESPN deal ends in August and will not be renewed. They are hoping to secure multiple TV partners in their new deal.
And that is how you know it's retaliation. He's attempting to retaliate on the behalf of Al Heyman whenever he says that Top Rank is trash and their cards are garbage. He's just trying to mirror what he sees other people say about the PBC.
I know you are, but what am I?
An idiot.
If you're relegating Top Rank being trash as the reason that ESPN will not renew with them, then what do you call the PBC for getting kicked off of NBC, kicked off of Fox, kicked off of Showtime, and ITV?
It's 4 major networks.
All in the time it took for this deal to come to an end. Where Top Rank is losing ESPN, the PBC have lost a lot more than that.
So they're 4 times as trashy, by your logic.
And here's the kicker. Top Rank has been in this business for what, 40 or 50 years? You think they don't know how to survive? You don't think they'll make a seamless transition from one platform to the next? They really don't have to do much to come out better than the PBC did when they got kicked off of Showtime and landed on Amazon.
Bar's set pretty low.
All they've really got to do to come out better than the PBC did is land on some other platform and try to do more than just 5 cards in a calendar year. That's about it.
Like the PBC did last year?
Because if they get on DAZN and they're actually given a budget to do shows annually throughout the year, more than just 5.
4 of which were pay-per-views.
2 of which were Canelo fights. Canelo, who is no longer with them.
Ouch.
They'll be all right. They'll be just fine. I understand that the situation is fluid and a lot can happen between now and August, but underneath it all, I feel that Top Rank has the know-how to land on their feet in all the ways that the PBC didn't. They landed on their face, on their ass. They had the opportunity to go to DAZN when news first broke that Showtime would be leaving the sport of boxing. They instead chose to go to Amazon. And how did that work out?
No bueno.
Top Rank still appears to be shopping themselves around to other broadcasters, other platforms, and I don't know which one specifically is going to pick them up, but I am confident that they will land on their feet and make a seamless transition in August.
While you're holding out hope that ESPN will give PBC the deal that Top Rank used to have, I shit you not.
That's what he's hoping for, that after Top Rank leaves the platform, the PBC will swoop in and fill the void. Good luck with that.
It's an inferiority complex, this internal battle that he's having.
He identifies on a personal level with Al Heyman and the PBC, so he takes on their failures as his own. And when he sees that people are trashing them, he feels like they're trashing him.
He's not the only one.
But he is one of the more obvious examples. And the problem with this approach is you're speaking way too soon about what still is a fluid situation, and the dust hasn't settled yet.
Top Rank might land on their feet.
If and when they do, you'll look dumber, even dumber, than you do now.